If you're watching this, it's possible that you are spiritually awakened. It's very likely if the algorithm is correct, you are spiritually aligned, spiritually awakened, or spiritually curious. I want to talk about my own spiritual awakening, my own spiritual experience as someone who had a spiritual awakening in my 20s. I think it's somewhat of a rarity. I'm not trying to be like a special snowflake or that, I'm the chosen one, I am special. No, nothing like that. It's just that in my own experience, in my own life, I don't know many people my age or in their 20s who are spiritually awakened, who have gone through a spiritual awakening. I usually meet men who are a little bit older, and while I have gone to like a spiritual retreat, I went to one last August, I did meet a good amount of men, actually, men that were maybe around my age, usually older, like in their 30s or 40s. And it was fucking awesome. It was amazing. And we all had different inclinations. We all had different spiritual experiences. We all had different spiritual modalities, different opinions, etc. But in real life, most men my age, most men in their 20s are in pursuit of something else, which is fine because I'm kind of like in that weird middle ground where I have that drive, that ambition, that fire. I want to strengthen my ego. My priority is to strengthen my ego. My priority is to become financially stable, etc. It's to be the masculine essence. It's to be what in this world the masculine is erect. And I've talked about this in a previous video. Think of like the Spartan symbol, the symbol of lambda. It's like a triangle, right, without the bottom. That symbolizes the masculine. Symbolically, the masculine is the phallus. It's the ability to be strong, the ability to be just straight, the ability to stand straight. As a man who was forced through a spiritual awakening because of external circumstances that dropped me into a space, dropped me into the worst pit, that dropped me down to a very low vibration, to a state of agony, to a state of where I couldn't ignore all the problems that were attacking me. There was no other way but that way. That or death in some other way. That or complete destruction of myself and others. A lot of the time it takes a dark night of the soul for us to awaken, and I was no different in that regard. It took a major traumatic event. It took the passing of my sister, the loss of a lover. It took a domino effect of tragedies to finally get me to awaken. Not gonna lie to you, bro. Through this journey, sometimes it feels lonely. I feel like I don't fit in with the spiritual women, the divine feminine, even though obviously there are things in spirituality that transcend all of that. Actually, it does transcend all of that. Love transcends all of that. Oneness, non-duality, all of it transcends this polarity, this dualistic society, the duality, the perception of duality. I'm aware of that. But when living in this 3D, when living in polarity, it is lonely because at the end of the day, yes, I'm a man. I feel connected to the divine masculine. That is what feels like home, not the divine feminine. But as I go through this journey, I learned that everything in and of itself is a spiritual experience, even in the mundane. You see, I notice a lot in spiritual circles that oftentimes there's a separation between the spiritual and the material, when really they go hand in hand. So for example, the gym, a shower, work can be a spiritual experience. It can be practiced together. It doesn't have to be a dedicated time where this is now my spiritual time, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to do some yoga, etc. Those are great practices to have, but they are practices. The real trial, the real thing is when you are at work, when I'm at work, when I'm sitting there doing my tasks. I work in a lab, okay, when I'm doing my things. The real task is when I'm driving home and I catch myself in a loop of thoughts and I meditate and I make that into a spiritual experience. The real task is when I'm driving home and I drop into my heart space. Because we train our minds. We try to optimize our mind, our focus, our concentration, our memory. We focus on that, and those are good things. But we don't focus on the second part of ourselves, our heart. Our heart that has an electromagnetic field around it. Our heart, when we connect to our heart, it senses things. It's intuitive. It's a part of us that knows without knowing, without logic. It's a wisdom that is beyond the confines of logic, beyond the constraint of the mind, the trickery of the mind, the programming of the mind. This is something that I learned from Maestro Hamilton, the ayahuasca shaman, that the practice is at all times. And the thing about the heart is that it doesn't work like the mind, where it takes a lot of effort to change. And yes, there are some hacks into like speeding up that process, but the mind likes to ruminate likes to digest things, likes to go over it and over it and over it until it changes. I'm sure you've experienced that. It's not a one and done deal, especially when we're doing it without psychedelic experiences, without these huge spiritual awakenings and downloads. When we drop into our heart field and we visualize and we think about the heart, picture it, that field expanding and being larger than our bodies. It's a wisdom that has no words. It's a wisdom that takes minutes to download. Unlike the mind, the heart bypasses everything. It does not require thought to understand. It does not require thought to know. It's funny because a year ago, I didn't understand this at all. Like I logically in my mind, I knew this because I'd heard it from one of my teachers, Sage Popham. He's an herbalist, naturopathic type of guy, and he knows a lot about astrological herbalism. He's a vitalist, an evolutionary herbalist, etc. One of the homeworks he gave us was to go into our heart space, into our heart field, and connect with the plant, with the essence of the plant. And at that time, even though I was already in my spiritual path, I had no idea what the fuck he meant. I was like, what do you mean? Because in my mind, I'm still deprogramming that materialist mindset where I'm like, I just want to know the properties of this plant. I want to know what chickweed does. I want to do what stingy nettle does. I want to know the energetics, the actions. I want to know the chemical composition. How do I just take this time, like for a month, just sit in a field with these flowers, with these plants, and connect with my heart? I didn't understand it. I thought it was a bunch of woo. I knew he was right. Like in my mind, I knew there was something to it, but I hadn't connected to my heart in that level. And because I knew my heart space, my field wasn't yet completely open, was still like, was still working on my heart chakra. I was still working on these things. I rejected it. I felt threatened by it. If anything, I was angry because I knew in myself that I felt I lacked that connection. I felt that I wasn't capable of doing this task that he had given me because I'd never experienced that before. I'd never felt that. Or at least I'd never felt it in a way that I was aware. So I told myself, why does it matter? Why does it matter to connect to my heart? Why does it matter? I just want to know. If I know, isn't that enough? If I know in my mind, can't I help people with these medicines? Can't I help people with my knowledge? If it was a threat to me, it was a threat to my ego. I know I'm jumping all around in this video, but trust me, it's all connected. It's all connected. So Maestro Hamilton, Sage Popham, these guys that are much wiser than me are advising me this. But I revisit this a year later now, and I hear it from Maestro Hamilton, the shaman, and it clicks. I get it because now I'm able to connect to that heart space. I'm able to connect to something that is beyond logic, beyond the brain. It is a form of clar cognizance. I think I butchered that word, but you know what I'm saying. It's clear knowing. It's that feeling of knowing when your gut is right. You don't know why. You don't know why you don't trust a certain situation. You don't know why you don't trust that person. You don't know why you don't trust that coworker. You don't know why something's telling you this situation, this offer that someone has given you is not good. You don't have a logical backing to it, but you know, and you are right. When you don't follow it, you're right to that. You should have followed it. So this experience, this now new evolution in my spiritual journey, it's all connected. Now I'm connecting it. Okay, every day I can connect to my heart space in one way or another. And every day, even the mundane, even the parts where I'm a warrior, where I'm disciplined, where I'm aggressive, where I'm this or that doesn't seem spiritual, is a part of the journey in and of itself. It is all a part of the evolution. It is all me. It is all of it is spiritual. Even the non-spiritual parts. It is going to serve later on in one way or another. So what I'm saying right now, I feel, even though I know there's a lot of people who resonate with those words and a lot of people who don't, as a 20-something-year-old that has gone through a spiritual awakening, it happened around 26 for me, 26, 27. I'm 29 now. It's something that I wouldn't just say men don't understand. It's something that a lot of people don't understand and might even feel threatened by it or might think I'm crazy, right? And there's that fear of like, damn, people are going to misunderstand me. Or damn it, man, why am I so alone in this? Why did this happen to me when I was so young? But the more I think about it, the age, even though I see it as a scale, right? spiritual awakenings, obviously, the more years you're on this earth, the more years you're here, you have a higher chance of having it. So obviously, it goes up, right? As your age goes up, more people awaken. More people start to connect to their chakra system, right? Oh, and real quick, I wanted to touch upon this point. The thing about clair knowing, clair cognizance, is this ability I've noticed. Even though we should trust our gut and all that, especially for those of us that really do have that. Like, it's just like undeniable throughout our lives. It's just been like, damn, how the fuck did I know that? It's crazy. Like, you just know. If you're one of those people, you just know. It is super important, I found in my own experience, that you have a clear channel, that you aren't being, that isn't being muddled by your mind, because our mind will trick us. Our mind has programming that can give us a negative feedback, or it might misdirect us because we've had negative experiences, or if we've been around people and our energy is polluted by negative people, negative thoughts, negative energy, that can get distorted. And that's where the anxiety comes in. You know, I've been in relationships where I felt that clair knowing, I felt that this girl that I'm dating is going to betray me, or she is betraying me. And I had that awful anxiety. I'm sure if you've been in a relationship and you know that feeling, that gut feeling, that feeling that something very wrong is going to happen. Oftentimes it's right, but sometimes it's wrong, because we are putting ourselves with someone that is already polluted, and we're polluting ourselves, and it's just a cycle. We're polluting them. It's this vicious cycle. The thing with that, we have to remove ourselves from that, cleanse ourselves, align and balance our chakra system, align and balance our aura, and in a way reset our dopamine, reset ourselves, reprogram our subconscious, do the work, so then we can trust that clair knowing. So then we can actually lean into that heart space. So then we can actually lean into the gifts that we have, that we are unable to tap into when we're polluted, when we're still stuck in the matrix. So this is like a big disclaimer to that, because even though I've had this gut feeling forever, what I would tell my younger self is to wait on it, to meditate on it, and to clear any negative blockages before tapping into that. Because it can be very, very misguided, very, very anxiety inducing. It can actually do more harm than good, because we're not stable. It's because we don't know how to handle that type of power, of the type of knowing, of that instinct that we have. So it's a matter of learning how to trust ourselves. Trust ourselves in our brain, and trust ourselves in our heart, trust ourselves in every category possible. Back on the age thing with spiritual awakening. So obviously, as when you're younger, there are less people your age who are spiritually awakened, and as you get older, you find there are more people that are spiritually awakened. But overall, as I see it in the population, and obviously I'm biased because there's only so much population that I know in person and then online, and even though I try to avoid certain online spaces because it just is polluting to my mind, I don't think it reflects reality very accurately. This is a very uncommon lens to live life through. It's different than the norm. It's not normal. When really, like, what's not normal is how this world navigates, how the material navigates. It's the matrix that we are stuck in. It definitely feels lonely at times. And I'm always super grateful when I start meeting people that have a similar mentality, that are expansive, have an abundant mindset, who are spiritual, who want to grow, who are in self-improvement, self-development, who are doing their best to be spiritually aligned, who are masculine, who are embodying the sacred, divine masculine. Those who are able to also tap into their shadows, not deny their shadows, deny their anger, deny their hatred, deny those darker emotions, because that's so common in spiritual circles, to just be love and light, when there's the other side, the underbelly of it. But I'm gonna speak about it because, fuck, man, I know there's a lot of us who think this way. I know there's a lot of people that have these thoughts, or have these feelings, or even curious about it. And if anything, I hope this emboldens people to be like, fuck, dude, this is how I think. This is who I am. And even if you disagree with me, even with any part of this video, or you agree with me, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is your journey. This is my journey. I'm trusting my gut. I'm trusting what I know. And when I need to reassess it and say, okay, I was wrong about this, now let's bring in that new information, using my brain, my mind, and my heart space together, I have found that to be the most powerful tool. Doing my best not to attach my ego to any of those beliefs. If you resonate with any of this, I'm happy that you're watching this video. I'm happy that there are more people like that who are thinking like this. I'd honestly love to connect. And if you're interested in connecting, there's a link down below in the description. It's a community that I'm building. It's new. It's in progress, but it's a space for the sacred masculine. It's a space for masculinity, for spirituality. It's a space for self-improvement. It's a space for challenge and holding space. It's free, most importantly, especially for these foundational members. Check out the link, like and subscribe, you know, the usual that people say. And if you're interested in hearing more about spiritual awakening, especially as a younger guy, because I just breezed by it really quickly. I didn't even tell you any backstory or anything like that. But I'll put a card for any videos that are going more into my spiritual awakening and how that was like. Or if anything, hop onto the community, onto the tribe, and we can talk about it there. I'll be hosting weekly calls to connect other like-minded men. And I'll be catching you in the next video and in that community down below. Peace.